ฮัตชิลฮัตชิลเปิดดันใหม่แล้วนี่หว่าเหยนี่เพิ่งเห็นไก่จะหมดหาไก่ก่อนร้านกาแฟเอ้าไม่ขายอีกไม่มีเตาอยู่ใกล้เลยสวัสดีครับไปในเรื่องต่อดีกว่าเป็นไงวะน่ะเอ้ายังไม่ได้เปิดอันนี้เหรอเลค่าขึ้นนานยังเพิ่งขึ้นครับเพิ่งขึ้นเดี๋ยวนะแล้วจุดวาร์ปอันนี้มันอยู่ไหนวะจุดวาร์ปข้างล่างเหรอเอ้าไปไงวะน่ะอะไรอ่ะโหมีซ่อนของไว้อย่างนี้ด้วยไปข้างไหนวะข้างล่างเหรอเวทก่อนแล้วกันดูเครื่องให้ผมหน่อยเดี๋ยว
You really are something. To be able to fall asleep like that and even sleep talk the entire time, you scared Paimon half to death. No, but you kept mumbling things along the lines of, Pyron, go take my grilled fish and put down the Adeptus Temptation now. Paimon talked with Sijween the entire time you were asleep. She seems like she's just a sincere nurse, and Paimon didn't notice anything unusual in the room. Are you sure we're not going off track with the infirmary?
ตรงนี้เนื้อเรื่องยาวเนี่ยคุกเนี่ยอย่างกับไพสันเบก
You really are super thorough. All those tiny little suspicious things that Paimon didn't even pick up on. We've gotta give the info to Linny.
ไม่ไปล่ะแอบส่งกระดาษให้เหรอวะเนี่ย
Today's the day. Let's go meet up with Linny.
อ้าวสำเร็จเควสเหรอ
Did you two run into any trouble over the past few days?
No, we just worked our shifts according to the schedule. Nothing weird happened.
That's good. That means you didn't raise any suspicions when you infiltrated the infirmary. We've taken a look at the slip you've sent. Fremine successfully left the grounds via the pipes 2 days ago, and as of last night, Lynette has also infiltrated the infirmary after faking an illness.
Wait, why is she getting involved as well?
You already went above and beyond when you scoped out the infirmary. To put it more bluntly, even if we were to view that as something you did in exchange for Fremine's help, you've already done more than enough. Infiltrating a guarded stronghold is a different kind of job from a one-off investigation. We want to avoid using the same faces over and over and reduce the amount of suspicion that will fall on any given person. Lynette also felt like you have already taken the first step for us, so she should be the one to finish the job.
So that's what Lynette thinks. Paimon hopes everything's going well for her.
Perhaps that's true. You're both very good people, and we've come to appreciate that more than anyone else. Unfortunately, there's still one thing that could get between us, lest you've forgotten. The matter of our respective loyalties. You've mentioned before that you've had some run-ins with the Fatui. I can understand that feeling, so I assume you're just helping us out of the kindness of your hearts?
Well, everyone could use some more friends. We'll be counting on you to help us in the future, too.
Since I see you as friends, then it's even more important for us to protect you from any peril. Fremine and Lynette feel the same way. Glad to hear it. Then, let's go check on Lynette before Fremine returns. If everything went well, then she should be wrapping up her investigation right about now.
Is now really a good time to go over?
According to my observations, Sijuin always spends around half an hour away from the infirmary right before lunch. Lynette knows this as well, so this should be a good time to meet up with her. Also, I'm her brother, remember? It's only natural for an older brother to care about his younger sister's well-being.
Okay, then let's head over right away.
Lynette should be here right now. Huh.
ไม่อยู่ซะงั้น
Strange. Lynette?
As expected, Sijuin isn't here, but why isn't Lynette here?
No, Lynette rarely deviates from the plan. We agreed that if she were to make changes on the fly, she'd find a way to let me know.
ไลเน็ตหาย
Unless...
Let's see if there are any clues around here. We can look while while we wait for her. Who knows? Maybe she'll be back soon.
Okay.
ค้นหาเบาะแส
Ah, this is it. We saw it before.
Wait, this thing? It doesn't look like it's been disguised that well. The space behind it is empty. From its size, I don't think it's an entrance that is meant to be taken apart. There's probably a mechanism around here somewhere.
คุณขวัญครับ
Might have tried to get inside? But if that's the case, she would have contacted me for sure.
น้องหาย
Let's look around here for some more clues. Don't panic, just take another look. None of the beds have any signs of having been slept in, except that one over there.
That's the one Lynette must have used, right? You said she was pretending to be sick.
Mm-hmm. She would have said her migraine was having a particularly bad flare-up. Generally speaking, the head nurse would then ask her to lie down and rest, while she left to retrieve the medication.
เตียงยังไม่ถูกจัดใหม่
Which means either the head nurse didn't return the entire time from when Lynette lay down up until she left the bed, or the nurse intentionally left it this way.
There are some books here and a few files. They all look like medical records. Advanced nursing, how to raise the spirit of your patients, a quick guide to the psychology of emotions, and the meaning of laughter. These sure are some interesting books. Who knew Sijuing would be interested in these kinds of things? She even has books on understanding people's motivations and feelings. Is it because she's a Melusine? Or does she have a need to understand her patient's emotional state?
Seems quite normal to me. These are skills that would come in handy for a nurse from time to time.
Hey, you guys, there's a slip of paper over here.
A slip of paper?
It's right over here, and there's a bunch written on it too. It reads, out of respect for your usual practices, I'll use a piece of paper or card as the medium to pass on my message. You may consider this as me giving you my best regards.
This is...
Is that all? The back. This is...
Show me! Now!
That look on your face. Paimon's reading it now. Would you care to guess where Miss Lynette of the Fatui could be right now?
อ้าว
Could she have... Is she already...
Wriothesley. Did he deliberately leave the infirmary unguarded to use it as bait?
ว่าไงควีน
Wait, you mean he was aware of our goals from the very beginning? But why? We didn't run into any trouble last time, and he also never reached out to us since.
Yes, that is a crucial question. Wriothesley, he doesn't do anything without a clear goal or reason. So this means he had no concerns about your activities from the very beginning. You're not from the same camp as us. You were sent down here by Nervulet, so you have no conflict of interest with Wriothesley. We're a completely different story, though. I'd like to know that too. Why did he
เอ้า
go after her?
เรียกแล้วก็หาย
Don't panic. Just think everything over. I have to stay calm. This is not like what happened last time. The situation's different now. Wait, you're right. Wait, but that means...
พิมพ์แล้วไม่ขึ้นอะไรอะพิมพ์อะไรมา
The fact that Fremine was able to leave the grounds, could Risley have let him go as well?
But what does he gain by letting Fremine leave like that?
So he's challenging me and trying to provoke me, I'm sure of it. We never should have sent out Fremine. We had to go through all that trouble to find an opening to sneak him around the guards and into the pipe, and we even thought luck was on our side. If Risley let him leave on purpose, then he's probably in a terrible spot now as well.
Lenny's getting more and more panicked. We have to calm him down.
อืม
Don't be like this, Lenny. Fremine wouldn't have left if we hadn't told you about Child. That was all.
มันยังรับไปอยู่เหรอ
No, I'm the leader of this operation, and I'm the one responsible for this.
นี่ขนาดอยู่ข้างบนแล้วเนี่ยยังโดนอีกเหรอ
I failed to protect them. I'll go talk to Risley.
ทุกไลท์อ่ะ เอ้า
Please, Traveler, please talk some sense into him.
I simply cannot allow Lynette to be abducted again. I have to go. I'll find a way to get them back.
He's
เลิกรับลม จะไปตั้งไหนดีวะเนี่ย
I feel like we still have some room to make changes on these details.
It's not impossible, but it'll require extensive testing.
Is that so?
ดีครับสวัสดีครับ
Very well. Then please be mindful of the time.
ลองปรับดิเนี่ยหายยัง
Is someone?
Pack everything up. Whoever's outside is eavesdropping. They'll probably come in once we stop talking.
ไหนดีวะ
Someone, please help! She's sick!
เหมือนเดิม นี่มันอยู่ข้างบนแล้วนะทำไมมันยังโดนอีกวะ
These two. As expected.
มันมาพร้อมเสียงที่อ๋อ
Oh, they are quite sharp. What a delightful turn of events. I like smart people, but I also like playing dumb. I like the feeling of being trusted. Oh my! What's wrong, little one? There's no need to panic. Take a deep breath before you begin. Being able to read human expressions is quite the useful skill. Wait! Wait! It's no use. We have to catch up to him. He's already out of sight. How is he so fast? Let's go head him off at Risley's office.
เอ้าทางไหนวะน่ะ ถ้ามันมีระบบตัดเสียงรบกวนก็ดี เดี๋ยวนะ
Come out and face me, Risley!
Aren't we at an administrative office space? Why don't you at least try to follow even a couple rules from the fortress's indoor management regulations?
What did you do to my sister?
I ran into the young miss at the infirmary. I'd heard that she was suffering from quite the migraine, so I decided to invite her over for a cup of tea. I do have some teas in my collection that can work wonders against such an illness.
Stop joking around! Where did you take my siblings?
I have also heard that your performances are Quite the spectacle. Miss Lynette would sometimes enter a box filled with water, only to emerge the next second from another place altogether. Maybe she'll appear behind you right now if you were to turn your head.
Is he trying to trick me into turning my head? No, he's probably not looking to attack me right now. All of the hostages are in his hands, and he's even in the mood for small talk.
เหมือนใน Discord เวลาพี่พูดไม่ได้ยิน
He's still alive. You knew
อ๋อ
investigating the infirmary from the start. So you deliberately aroused the traveler's suspicions and baited us into continuing our investigation, just so that you'd be able to kidnap Lynette. As for Fremine, no, you probably didn't even interfere with Child's escape. You let him go so you could purge the Fatui members that we had planted into your ranks.
There was no need to do so. The fortress of Meripede is a pretty pleasant place. Most people enjoy their lives here. The only ones who act differently are those with personal agendas. It was quite easy to identify your
ลองแก้ดูดิ
You removed our original members and spread the news of Child's escape so Father would assign our team to come down and investigate. Fremine has also fallen into your hands, right? If you're oh so omnipotent and so in control, why would you need hostages?
One correction. Lynette is in my hands right now, but Fremine is not.
มันก็เปิดอยู่นะเนี่ย
What do you really want?
Oh, wonderful. Everyone is here, so I'll only need to say this once. Thank you so much for cooperating with me.
เนี่ยตอนนี้มันก็ตัดอยู่นะว่ามันเป็นยังไงวะฮัลโหลได้ยินแย่แล้ว
Eager and to the point, I see. Alas, only Miss Lynette is currently having a cup of the fortress's finest tea. Although, as per your original plan, Mr. Fremine should also have returned to the fortress by now.
ได้ยินแต่ไม่รู้จะแก้ยังไงแล้วปวดหัว
Nor has he been taken into any kind of custody. So, where do you think he may be right now?
Wait, you can't mean you locked him outside in the sea?
I closed the fortress's gate to the outside world. That's all.
Fremine's a star
No, we're still here, so he definitely tried to find a way to come back for us. So we can't assume he might have made a break for the surface.
But why would I do this, you may be asking? To have an audience with you, of course. My intel tells me that Mr. Linney is a great magician, so it's only natural for me to want to have some cards of my own.
เอาตังมา
Besides, I do recall you mentioning to Miss Lynette that you've always wanted to have a face-to-face meeting with the Lord of the Fortress of Meripede, regardless
ตัวนี้มัน 5,000 เลยนะ
or a professional capacity.
ไม่ตัวเนี้ย
You got your wish.
So, you've been keeping tabs on us before we even set foot in the fortress.
Some of my folks just happened to hear a thing or two, that's all. In any case,
สวัสดีครับ
I was willing to play dumb and turn a blind eye, so we had a pleasant few days playing games together here. But once you started focusing on the Forbidden Zone, all of that changed. Mr. Linney, the cards are stacked against you right now. Miss Lynette is in my hands, and Mr. Fremine is still slowly being pickled out there in the brine. You know just as well as I that he cannot last out there forever. You need do but one thing to guarantee their safety. I would like you to contact your superior.
พาซื้อให้แกดิ
Invite her over
เดี๋ยว
for a cup of tea with me.
You want to see Father? But why should she bother giving you an audience?
Well, if she cares for the well-being of her dearest children, she should have plenty of motivation to join me for a parents' evening. I've heard that the bonds between the members of the House of the Hearth are like the bonds of family. I don't see why she would refuse.
Why did you think Father sent us to handle the Fortress of Meripede? This place is basically a no-man's land. It wouldn't be fitting for anyone as important as a harbinger like Father to come here in person.
Oh, I see.
ถ้าถามว่าอยากได้ไหม
Care for my place here.
เอามา ส่งมันมา
After all, I've amassed quite the tea collection.
มันรำคาญเหมือนกันเนี่ยมัน
Both Monsieur Neuvillette and Lady Farina have already received many samples as gifts.
Was this the extent of your master plan to get to father? No matter how much pressure you may put on me, I won't allow you to use us to blackmail her.
You people really are difficult to get along with. All I'm asking for is a face-to-face conversation. Does she truly have no interest in the fortress's secret? Mr. Lin,
เขาไม่อ่านเมนหนูอ่าน
one
ได้ยิน
last
เปล่า
chance to invite your father here. If you refuse,
เดี๋ยวได้ยินเสียงผมปะเนี่ย
Linny!
อ้าวได้ยินเสียงผมไหมเฮ้ยอ๋อนึกว่าไม่ได้ยินตกใจหมด
instead of asking why I'm doing this, why don't you try to see things from my perspective for a second? From the very beginning, the Fatui has been actively infiltrating my fortress. I gave you a warning by cutting off the first few operatives I found, but that only caused you to double down. Had you given up on the fortress then and there, I'd have no reason to want to talk. Mr. Fremenet left the fortress on his own, and Miss Lynette tried to pry out my secrets right in front of me. No matter how you look at it, the responsibility for this falls on you.
I shouldn't ask father to do anything because of us.
ปัญหาเรื่องลม
5,
Wait,
2, 1. Time's up. It really is a shame, Mr. Linney.
Risley!
อยากได้เหรอ
Negotiations have broken down. Please leave, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for my afternoon tea.
มันเบื่อตรงที่มันแบบมันไม่ยอมตัด
If you can't talk to
เสียง
Linny,
ให้
at
อ่ะ
least talk to us.
เวลาพูดก็ได้ยินหมดเลยใช่ไหมล่ะเสียงลมเนี่ย
You do realize
เดี๋ยวลองมาหาวิธีแก้ดูก่อน
because of Neuvillette, yes? You're here helping him out, and I've already done my best to stay out of your way. But that doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want. The fortress may be small and remote, but it still has its own set of laws. Then how about this? Those who are capable deserve respect. You've spent quite some time investigating my home turf by now, so why don't you tell me a thing or two about what you found?
อ๋อผมรู้แล้วถ้าเกิดว่าคนดูอ่ะคอมเมนต์อ่ะ
And I'll agree to
มันจะคอยดันฟีดให้แต่ถ้าคนดูแบบไม่พิมพ์อะไรเลยอ่ะแม่งจะไม่ดันอะไรให้ มันจะไม่ดันไลค์ให้
What is the truth behind the one about not
เนี่ยผมสังเกตหลายรอบแล้ว ถ้าเกิดว่าไม่มีใครเม้นอะไรเลยนะ มันจะไม่ขึ้นว่ามีคนดูเข้ามาใหม่ แต่ถ้าเราพอเราพิมพ์กันได้เยอะอ่ะ มันจะมีคนเข้ามาเรื่อยๆเลย เห็นตอนที่เล่นพวกเกมอื่นที่คนดูเยอะไหมอันนั้นนะพิมพ์กันรัวๆเลยเห็นปะประมาณนั้นอ่ะ โอ้โหก็ต้องมา
According to Collins, the Pancration tournament only took place because the Fanta company sponsored it. The company must want a return on their investment as well. The research note said that the Melusine race perceives the world very differently from humans. Because of that, the Melusines have also developed a sense of aesthetics that appear rather strange and alien to humans.
เดี๋ยวลองปรับตัวนี้ดูนะขึ้นเปล่าอ้าวดูซิว่าดีขึ้นเปล่าอะไรเกรดเนี่ยอ่ะดีขึ้นปะก็จะบอกหลายทีในเรื่องไม่มันควรบอกไม่ควรปล่อยไว้นานเลยเรื่องไม้เรื่องอะไรเนี่ยมันควรบอกเร็วที่สุดยิ่งดีเลยเพราะว่าเราจะได้แก้ไงเพราะว่ามันไม่มีใครอยากให้มันมีเสียงรบกวนเวลาไลฟ์หรอกมันดูไม่เป็นมืออาชีพอ่ะแล้วอ๋ออันนี้หายยัง
Fanta's internal internal reports suggest that they're starting a new trial of an unnamed and
ยังอีกเหรอ
unpublished product. But
Ah.
the product has to undergo a trial because even Fanta's own employees have a lot of reservations about it.
แต่นี่
We often see Miss Sijuin observing the prisoners at work near the production zone. It seems the Fanta promoter has been struggling because he doesn't
บอกแล้วมาพร้อมเสียงพูด
coupons. Meanwhile,
มันลด
the
พูด
Duke
ไปเลย
believes that only idiots
ดี
who
ขึ้นไหม
don't understand the value of coupons would spend them on Fanta.
เนี่ยต้องช่วยดูแล้วล่ะ หายัง พูดยาวๆไอ้นี่
I've
ได้อ่านเลย
been
ด้วย
told the infirmary is always empty for the half hour just before lunch. But what could Sijuin be doing during that time?
เลือกมั่วๆไปดูดิ
The Fanta
อันเลือกมั่วๆดู โอเคเบาลงจากเดิม เบาลงใช่ไหมงั้นเดี๋ยวลองปรับตรงนี้ลงดูนะ 6.6 เป็นเนี่ยดีขึ้นไหมแต่เสียงพี่มันจะเบาลงชิปหาย ก็ปรับตรงนี้ขึ้นมาหน่อย ดีขึ้นปะดีขึ้นยัง เบาะแสเลือกเบาะแส
We
มั่วไปเลย
often
แล้วกัน
see
เนี่ย
Miss Sijuin.
ไม่
According
อ่าน
to
เลยมั่วไป
Collins,
เลยถูกอันเดียว ไม่มีเสียงลมแต่เสียงพี่เบา โอเคงั้นปรับเกณฑ์ไมค์ตรงนี้ เนี่ยเสียงพี่ดีขึ้นยัง มั่วแม่งเลย
research notes
มั่ว
said
ไปเลย มั่วไปเลยโอเคเสียงดังขึ้นมานิดเสียงลบยังมีอยู่ไหม
According to Collins, the pic
มั่ว
we often see Miss Si
มั่วไม่มีเอาจิ๊กเหรอไม่มีแล้วเหรอก็ยังไม่ถูกอยู่ดี
The Fanta promoter has been Fanta's internal report. The Fanta promoter has been struggling because he doesn't recognize the real value.
สบายหูขึ้นเยอะเอ้าจริงเหรอ
Meanwhile,
โอ้แล้วน้องฟ้าก็ไม่บอกโทรทำไมเราไม่บอกกันน่ะพี่ก็ไม่รู้เนี่ยอันนี้คือดีขึ้นแล้วใช่ป่ะคือไม่รู้ไงว่ามัน
we often see Miss Sijuin observing
ใช่มันไม่รู้ไง
Fanta's
ต้องบอกนะ
internal
เรื่องไมค์ไม่ได้นะปล่อยทิ้งไว้ไม่ได้นะไม่ต้องเกรงใจเลยเรื่องไมค์เนี่ยไมค์ห่วยอะไรเนี่ยต้องบอกไม่งั้นมันจะไม่รู้เรื่องแล้วมันจะยาวเลย
We
ทีนี้
often see Miss Sijuin.
ไม่มีเสียงลมแล้ว
Fanta's internal report.
นี่ก็ไม่ได้ปิดพัดลมหรืออะไรนะก็อยู่เหมือนเดิม แสดงว่าเป็นที่ปรับโปรแกรมตรงนี้สูงไปแล้วปรับสูงไปแล้วมันบูตแลบแบบว่ามันดูดหมดเลยเหลืออันเดียวแล้วว่ะมั่วจนถูก
I've been told that the infirmary
ไหนลองขยับดิเพื่อความสบายเพื่อความชัดว่ามีเสียงลมอีกไหม
That's what's going on. Paimon understands it now. Who would have guessed?
ไม่มีแล้วใช่ป่ะ
The hidden rule of the production zone. People are
เสียง
not
พี่เบาไหม
supposed to work
หรือว่า
3 days
พอแล้ว
in a row, and if they do, they'll get strange meat in their welfare meal. At first, we thought this strange meat must have something to do with the people
พอแล้วใช่ป่ะ
who disappeared. But in
Okay.
reality, they were all prepared by Sijuin, the head nurse. She often visits the production zone to observe the workers' health and makes a note of anyone who has worn themselves out after 3 full days of work.
คนอื่นนะ
Out of her
เสียงพี่ดี
sensitivity
ยัง
as the head
แบบ
nurse, as
ไม่
well
ต้อง
as
ปรับ
her
ขึ้นแล้วใช่ไหมหรือยังไง
genuine concern for the workers' health, Sijuin visits the cafeteria right before lunch and cooks an extra dish for those who can use the stamina boost. Sijwin has only the best intentions with
เบา
her
อยู่ไหม
surprise
จะได้ปรับ
gift
ขึ้นอีก
and doesn't want anyone to find out about what she does. However, unfortunately, Melusines as a race perceive the world differently from humans, and their sense of aesthetics is even more alien to us. The recipients of her lovingly prepared
เห็นไหม
special
พอเรา
meals
พิมพ์กันเยอะๆคนเริ่ม
cannot taste
มา
the
แล้วนะ
care within and usually
ตอนแรก
just
ไม่มีใคร
forget.
พิมพ์มีดูอยู่ไม่กี่คนเอง
Are we on the right track?
อันนี้ก็คือต้อง
Not bad.
อ้าว
You've uncovered Sijween's secret and even guessed her intentions
Okay, young
correctly
queen.
as well. It's nice to know that her
เสียง
efforts have not gone unacknowledged.
เบาไปไหม
Now
เสีย
for
ง
my
พี่
next
อะ
question. There are also some hidden rules in the pancration ring, including the one that you're not allowed to support both sides of a fight.
เนี่ย
Why is that?
ใช้อันนี้แหละตอนแรกปรับตรงเนี้ยมันเป็นสูงเลยมันก็เลยแบบดังแบบลมดังมาก 15.9 ตอนแรกปรับมาอยู่เนี่ยเกือบเนี่ยเป็นเบอร์ 5 เบอร์ 6 เลยแรงจัดอ้าวฮัลโหลโอเคคือ
According to Collins, the Pancration tournament only took
เยี่ยม
place because the Fanta company sponsored it.
คือไม่ต้องแล้วใช่ไหมไม่ต้องปรับอะไรแล้วใช่ไหมกลัวแบบว่า
Research notes said that
เสียงพูดเบาไปอะไรอย่างนี้
the Fanta promoter has been
เฮ้ยมั่วถูกว่ะเหลืออันเดียว
Fanta's internal reports suggest
นะมันไม่ได้เป็นที่ไมค์และเป็นที่โปรแกรม
Climate gets this rule too now, so there really was
ไม่
nothing
ต้อง
to
แล้ว
be
เวลี่
afraid
กูด
of.
เราไม่มีอ๋อโอเคโอเค
That hidden rule of the pancration ring is about how people are not supposed to bet on both boxers at the same
เสียง
time.
พี่
And if
ดังกว่า
they
เกม
do,
ใช่ไหม
they'll receive a package
เพราะว่าต้องให้
containing
มัน
a strange
ดังกว่าเกมเสียงคนพูด
blood-colored
อะ
liquid. People get scared when they see it because they've subconsciously begun to associate it with the missing boxer.
อ๋อโอเคโอเค
But really, it's just a bottle of the latest yet to be named and packaged new Fanta trial product.
ไพมอน
A
ทำตัวเป็นนักสืบ
blood-red drink. It's no wonder even Fanta's own staff were questioning the company's decision-making. The company, facing backlash from its own staff, decided to try to trial the product on a smaller scale to see how it might be received by customers. They came to the
ก็หลัง
fortress
ก็
of
ใช้
Maryland
เซตนี้นะ ใช่ใช่เดี๋ยวต้อง
offered
เซฟ
to
ภาพไว้
sponsor the pancration tournament so they could push their new product.
เซฟไว้เลยดีกว่าเดี๋ยวลื
But
ม
the Duke completely refused to even entertain the idea. The Duke, knowing how valuable coupons are in the fortress, knew that only total idiots who didn't understand their true value would bother buying a Fanta product here.
เซฟภาพไว้
And so, only those who proved their stupidity by being dumb enough to bet on
Oh,
two
wait,
opposing
it,
sides of the same match were selected to receive the drinks.
I acknowledge the effort you've put into bringing the truth of this mystery to light. Although, based on your description, that Fanta promoter is a bit too careless with his words, I may just reconsider my collaboration with the company. Alright, and here's the final question. What's the secret behind our head nurse and all of her patients in the
Okay.
infirmary?
แล้วก็ดูเซตตรงนี้ของต่อด้วยอ่ะเซฟให้หมดขอเวลาเซฟแป๊บโอเคไม่มีร้อยไง
Stop your cruel and pointless games, Risley! You know that we haven't finished our investigation, so there's no way we can answer the last question. The thought of
เสียงรบ
sparing
กวนเยอะ
Lynette
ก็
and
เป็นปัญ
Brevene
หา
never
ที่
even crossed your mind.
ทำให้คนดูไม่ค่อยอยากดูไลฟ์เราด้วย
Pay for this!
Lenny, are you alright?
เอ้าทำไมภาพมันค้าง
Oh, close one. I owe you, Sijween. That was a fantastic shot.
It was nothing, Your Grace. Sijween?
อ้าว
This gun may look like a toy. It's actually fully functional, as I just demonstrated.
Sijween. You.
สิ
Not at all. I am merely a resident of the fortress, and thus protecting it is my duty. When Monsieur Nervulet asked me to come here, he told me that my job would be to take care of the well-being of everyone here. I am merely discharging my duties.
ฟังแล้วมัน
You mean what you just said?
ขัด
Then
อยู่
isn't Lenny someone you should be
ฮะ
looking after as
ขัดอะไร
well?
อ่ะ
Isn't he a resident here just like the rest of us?
ฟังแล้วขัดยังไงวะ
But I really am just doing what Monsieur Nervulet told me to do. Everything I did, I've done to protect them.
อ้าวนึก
Had
ว่า
I not, they would be
ต้อง
in
แก้
far
อีก
more dire straits right now.
เออ
His Grace knows it too, right? Your Grace? Mind proving my innocence to them?
นี่ก็ขยันแบนคำแท้
My dear Sijuin, whatever shall I
เอ
do?
อ
Would it have
ขยัน
killed
แบน
you to just wait another minute or two?
Well, it's nearly time after all. The way you do things can be truly frustrating sometimes, Your Grace. I figured I should try to talk some sense into you. What are you talking about? What
นี่
time?
นะคนแบน ฮะ แบนอะไร
If you want, let them go.
บางคำมันชอบฝัดเยอะอะไรเงี้ย
how
ก็ต้อง
touching.
ตั้งไว้
Can you just give me one more minute?
Don't be like that, Your Grace.
All right, everyone, calm down. 2 more visitors will be arriving any time now. I'll go get a cup of tea. Miss Sijuin, I leave Miss Lynette in your care.
You. What are you doing?
I believe I hear footsteps.
Some space, please.
อ้าวพอลีนมา
Miss
ว่ะ
Clarand. My door.
Fremine. Fremine.
อ้าวเฟรมิเนต
What's going on? What is Clarin doing here?
Work.
I'm sorry about shooting you, Mr. Linney. The tranquilizing effect will begin to wear off soon. Please take it easy in the meantime, though.
What happened to Fremine? Wasn't he diving just outside of the fortress? Why is he looking like this?
A flushed face, an accelerated pulse. He must have consumed primordial seawater.
What did you say?
อ้าวสวยแล้ว
Make some space. I'll need to give Mr. Fremine a more thorough checkup. Your Grace, I'll leave the rest to you.
I'll talk to Clarand while you get Fremine to where he needs to be. Everything else can wait. โอเคแล้วเนาะไมค์เมยเรียบร้อย เอ้า
What's that look on your face? I thought I made good time on the way back.
Oh, I'm just admiring your punctuality. Had you arrived just a few minutes later, Sijuin may have been forced to shoot Mr. Linney again. How's the situation out there?
The water has changed. It's pretty much as expected. The concentration of primordial seawater has increased significantly. I was only out there a short time, so it wasn't too bad. But if one were to stay for any significant amount of time, well, you can see how that boy's doing.
Where was he when you found him?
The abandoned zone at the end of the pipes. A good distance into the water.
Closer than I thought. He must have recognized it early on and tried desperately to swim back.
Locking the door was necessary. I don't think we could have saved two.
Well, I did try to convince him that I had my reasons. Never seems to work, though.
It would probably work on Neuvillette. He has a knack for picking out who had good intentions, even when the outcomes were all terrible.
That's a bad sign if you're having to plead your case to Neuvillette. Want some tea?
Not
จิบชงจิบชา
particularly. If you want to drink some that badly, just say so.
Fine, I'd like to get some tea. Want me to get you a cup too, since I've already made it?
Might as well then, I suppose. Actually, do you have a towel? I would like to dry my hair.
How is he?
These symptoms are probably caused by an acute ingestion of a large amount of primordial seawater.
โห
Still, his condition is not critical. Of course, it would be best if he stayed for further observation. Let's leave him here for now and move him to the infirmary once he's recovered a bit more. Sorry. I am aware that the infirmary may not be your favorite place in the world at the moment. We do only have a single clinic in the fortress, however.
เดี๋ยวควีนยังอยู่เปล่า
Why would he ingest a large amount of primordial seawater after leaving the fortress? How could that possibly happen?
Please, look after Mr. Fremine for the moment. I'll go fetch some medicine and a respirator. Oh, I'll bring Miss Lynette back with me.
Where is she? How is she right now?
ถ้างั้นตอน
She just took a nap in an empty room after I
เดี๋ยวรอ
tranquilized
คุยจบ
her.
กัน
If my calculations are correct, she should also be waking up right around now. You might not
เดี๋ยว
believe
เดี๋ยว
me,
รอ
but His Grace and I
มัน
actually
คุย
made
จบ
some
ก่อน
snacks and tea for her. Linny, are you okay?
I'll be fine. They're all here now. Don't worry about me.
Are you sure? You don't look alright.
My hands and feet are still a bit weak, but that's probably just the residual effects of the tranquilizer shot.
I'm back, everyone.
Lenny! Oh, Traveler, Paimon, you're here too.
อ๋อ
Fremine? Is he...
He'll be fine. But for now, please help me lift him up.
แสดงว่าแม่งยังไม่จบอีก5 minutesฟื้นแล้ว
His breathing's beginning to slow down.
Give me a hand and help me get him to the infirmary.
Yeah, I'll take him from this side. Lynette, together?
On it.
Traveler, you seem pretty worried about him. Want to come with us? The Duke and Clarande are gone. They probably went to get some tea. The Duke will explain the truth in just a bit. Miss Clarande will need a break, since she only just returned from rescuing Fremine out of the sea.
แสดงว่าเสียงลมนี่เดี๋ยวนะถามก่อนไอเสียงลมที่ได้ยินกันมาเนี่ยมันเป็นมาตั้งแต่ไหนแล้วตั้งแต่เล่นอันดอนแรกๆหรือตั้งแต่ตอนที่รู้จักกันใหม่ๆหรือยังไงเนี่ยใช่ไหมโอ้หรือว่าก่อนหน้านั้นอีกวะเพราะว่าเราตั้งแบบนี้มาตั้งแต่ทำต่อๆแล้วอะโอ้โหสุดยอดไปเลยชิบหายเยี่ยมจริงๆแล้วก็ไม่มีใครเตือนด้วยเยี่ยมนิ่มเลยเราก็แก้ไม่ได้สักทีว่ามันเป็นตรงไหนวะมันน่าลงโทษจริงๆเจ้าพวกนี้นี่แล้วพอลมหายไปแล้วเป็นไงดีขึ้นเยอะไหมเป็นตั้งแต่แรกที่หนูดูไลฟ์พี่เลยโอ้โหตั้งแต่ชูรอบนู้นเลยเหรอเอาง่ายๆแม่งเป็นตั้งแต่มาทำที่นี่ใช่ไหมน่าจะ เพราะว่าผมตั้งแบบนี้มาตั้งแต่แรกแล้วก็ไม่มีใครบอกเลยว่าเรื่องลมแรงโอ้แล้วเพิ่งจะมาได้แก้วันนี้สุดยอดจริงกี่เดือนวะน่ะไอชิปหายครึ่งปีโอ้ตายแล้วสุดยอดจริง
Take it easy.
สบายหูสุดๆเนี่ยไอคนเนี้ยไอคนดูที่ดูนานกว่าเพื่อนเนี่ยทำไมไม่บอก ทำไมไม่ยอมบอกทำไมต้องด่าไม่ด่า ดีแล้วที่บอกถ้าบอกช้ากว่านี้ก็ไปเรื่อยแล้ว
How do you feel?
เป็นเน็ตฟื้นแล้ว
Lynette.
We're all here.
Where am I?
The infirmary at the Fortress of Meripede, Mr. Fremine, and you are no longer in any danger. How do you feel? Don't push yourself if you're not feeling up to it.
Traveler. Paimon. It's been so long. The sea. There's something wrong with the seawater.
ทำไมต้องด่ากันด้วยเดี๋ยวไม่ได้ด่าใจ
It's
เย็น
okay. We can talk about it after you've recovered.
ถ้ามันเป็นอีกก็บอก
Listen to
บอก
me.
หน่อยนะ
This is really serious. There's primordial seawater mixed into the regular seawater.
อะไรวะน่ะ
I don't know why it's there, but no one should touch it. Pipes. Right, the pipes. It's all coming back to me now.
เฮ้ยเดี๋ยวไม่ได้ว่าอะไรเลยใจเย็นสิ
I'm in. Seems like this pipe hasn't been used in a long time.
อ๋อนี่ย้อนมาตอน
It
ที่
looks
ยังไม่โดนด้วย
abandoned.
คือถ้ามันเป็นอีกก็บอกด้วยนะอย่าปล่อยทิ้งไว้
Where could Master Child be?
เพราะว่าผมก็ไม่ชอบที่เวลาไมค์มันมีลมเข้ากูว่าแล้วก็ต้องเล่นตัวนี้แล้วทำไมอยู่ๆควีนพูดเรื่องนี้ขึ้นมาเอาดาบใหญ่เหรอวะเนี่ยไม่รู้ว่าคิดว่าปกติเวรกรรม
This mechanism looks like it's been tampered with. Could he have done it?
ไอ้นี่เป็นผู้ชายเหรอวะโอ้แล้วไม่มีตัวอื่นด้วยนะไม่ได้แค่ตัวเดียวด้วยแต่ไม่รู้ว่าเวลาผมเล่นเกมผีแล้วมันจะเสียงมันจะดูดวะนะแล้วว่าเราพูดกับพี่หลายรอบแล้วนะทำไมเราหรือว่าเราลืมวะเราแบบเราจะแก้แล้วพอเราทำอย่างอื่นอยู่แล้วมันก็ลืมแน่ๆเลยใช่ไหมตอนนั้นผมทำอะไรอยู่ตอนที่บอกอ่ะผมน่าจะทำอะไรสักอย่างแล้วพอทำแบบนั้นปุ๊บมันก็ลืมอันนี้ไปเลยมันจะชอบเป็นอย่างเงี้ยมันถ้าแบบมันไม่ทำมันจะลืมอ่ะไม่รู้เป็นโรคอะไรชอบถ้าแบบไม่ทำตอนนั้นเลยคือลืมเลยเราออกได้ไหมไม่ได้ห้ามออกอ้าวแล้วไปไงวะกดอันนู้นแล้วเสียงมันดีขึ้นมันอู้อี้ไหมเวลาตัดเสียงรบกวนออกเสียงมันจะชอบอู้อี้อ่ะมันอู้อี้ป่ะหรือว่าปกติดีเอาไปไงวะต้องดันขึ้นมาเหรอ นี่พูดกับเขาหลายรอบแล้วมาบ่นใช่เหรอทำไมจำไม่ได้ลืมหรือเปล่าโอ้นี่ไงไปได้แล้วเฮ้ยโอ้โห
This is where the water starts. Okay.
หวังว่าคงไม่มี
Master
ลมเข้า
Child
อีกนะ
probably dived into the water. I'll go take a look as well.
ไปไงวะอ๋ออ๋อดำได้มาแล้วสวัสดีครับ
The vegetation here is a bit more sparse. These traces aren't natural. A person must have left them, and recently. I should be going. Oh, there are traces here too. I need to keep going. Huh? The traces are gone. But I don't see where he could have gone from here.
โอเค
Wait. What the?
อ๋อมันไปโดนน้ำตรงนี้
My heart is racing, and it's getting harder and harder to breathe. What's going on?
เล่นบทแบตหมดลืมดูแบตน้องโป้ไปแล้วว่าหมดน้องเอาไม่ได้บน
I have to get back. They still don't know anything about what's going on. If I turn back right now, I should still be able to make it.
แล้วทำไมตัวม่วงอย่างวะเนี่ยเฮ้ยชิปหายแล้วเลือดลดโอ้โหแล้วขยันลดอีกเร็วออกไปเร็ว
I can't die here.
ชิปหายแล้ว
This is bad. I'm feeling worse and worse, and I'm still underwater.
โอ้ยจะตายแล้ว
Have to push on.
เอ๊ะใครมาอ๋อคอลีนมั้ยน่ะสวัสดีครับสวัสดีเป้ด้วยครับ
So, in other words, the trail you were following vanished, and you had no idea where Master Child could have gone, but there was also no obvious place for him to have disappeared to.
That's right. I tried my best to swim back, but I had already put some distance between myself and the fortress, and I just couldn't find the strength to keep going. I probably passed out some time after that, and you know the rest.
Miss Clarande brought you back, but we also don't know why she just suddenly appeared at the fortress, or why she went out to save you.
Miss Clarande, you say? I must go thank her in person.
ดีครับสวัสดีครับ
You're still too weak for
มีคน
Monet.
นอกใจ
You can go after you've had some more rest.
Miss Lynette is right. I believe Miss Clorian will stay here as a guest for another few days, so there's no need to hurry.
A guest? Then I can assume Risley was the one who invited her to come down here?
You should ask His Grace about that. He'll be able to explain better than me. Yeah, it's about time he actually told us what's going on. Wanna come with us, Liddy?
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับสวัส
No,
ดีท่านครู
please
ด้ว
go
ย
on without me. I don't want to leave just yet.
Lenny.
The logical part of my brain is aware that we're safe right now, but I still can't bring myself to leave. Both of you are just in danger.
เอ้า
Understood. Then let's just sit together for a while.
In that case, I'll leave the infirmary to you. The Traveler and I are going to head out for now. As long as you stay in here, I don't think you'll be disturbed.
Thank you.
อะไรใครนอกใจ ไม่รู้เห็นพิมพ์มาผมอ่านเฉยๆนะผมไม่ได้อะไรเลย เอ้าทำไมมันเป็นกลายเป็นเสี่ยววะเนี่ยเควสโคตรยาวหรือเป็นไรนอกใจอะไรวะน่ะ What the heck อุ๊ยคันตาเลย
Useless.
อะไรท่านนอกใจนะขยันปั่นกันจังเนอะสวัสดีน้องรุนด้วยแล้ววัดดีไปยังวัดดีไปแล้ว
Excuse me.
I take it Mr. Fremonet's condition has stabilized?
Of course. I wouldn't have left the infirmary otherwise.
I've been expecting those two, but might I inquire as to the purpose of your visit, Miss Sejuin?
I wanted to check up on Miss Clorian. How are you feeling?
Mostly fine, I think.
If you don't mind, I'd like to perform another quick physical exam. It'll just take a few minutes.
All right. Thank you for looking out for me. I'll take my leave for now then.
Well, want to explain yourself, Risley?
Of course, but I'm not partial to the word choice of explain. How about enlighten?
อะไรวะน่ะ
Where should I begin? How about you start by asking me any questions you have? You can start with whichever one you'd like to get answered the most.
Then Paimon will begin. Did you know about Lenny's goals from the very beginning?
No. I just knew they were Fatui operatives sent to the fortress by the Knave. As for their specific goals, I only figured those out as you made progress on your investigation.
You managed to monitor and stay ahead of them even though you didn't know what they were trying to do?
They came here with ulterior motives. I'm quite adept at discerning what that kind of behavior signals. Initially, I thought their goal was just to investigate Child's disappearance. Linny suggested that I had deliberately let him escape, but in truth, I didn't really do anything special to help or hinder him while he was here. Everything he did, from finding helpers to leaving this place, he did on his own. Of course, it's inevitable that the Knave would make a big deal out of her fellow Harbinger's unexplained disappearance. I'm also quite curious about where that Harbinger went, so I figured I might as well let the Fatui do their own investigative work. All I care about is the answer.
So you were hoping Lenny's group would just do your work for you.
You make it sound like that's a bad thing. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. I assume that Fremine has told you already, the ratio of primordial seawater around the fortress of Meripede is on the rise. The Forbidden Zone has always been Lenny's target, and you got roped into that investigation after running into him. I began to intervene out of concern for your safety, and also to prevent the fortress from becoming entangled in more irksome
มีรายได้เทพ
I
น้ำยัง
thought
มัน
rumors
ไม่ออกอะครับ
have that you're also a former
มัน
criminal.
หลุดเรทเป็นโมนา
Why would you put it like that? Isn't staying here all day and serving as the manager of the fortress a
มัน
kind
กลาย
of
เป็นเทพ
sentence
น้ำ
unto
โม
itself?
นาไป
Another form of prison?
แม่งเอ้ย
I just happen to have some support from the
ท่าน
rest
รั
of
ฐเป็น
the
คนดีไม่มี
inmates.
นอกใจอะไรวะน่ะ สาวเป็นร้อย
Right. Paimon wanted
สาว
to
เป็นร้อย
ask,
อะไร
who invited
สาวเป็นร้อยยังไง
Clyde
วะ
down here?
Me, of course. I paid her good mora to come down to the fortress for some field work. As a champion duelist, Miss Cloran could be considered to be an independent party. I needed to find an exceptionally capable person to help me get through the impending crisis.
And saving Fremine was part of that crisis?
You can think of it like that, yes. Credit where credit is due, that boy is quite adept at diving. Had conditions not been as hostile as they were, he probably would have found the missing harbinger already.
เอาสุ่มได้กี่โลถึงได้หลุด มันต้องกดดูอะเดี๋ยว
That's not something you
เดี๋ยว
should
รอ
be
มัน
asking
พาม
me
จ
to
บก่อน
Neuvillette only asked you to investigate Child's whereabouts. All I
Yeah,
need
they
to prove
look
to you
tick,
is
they-
that the
yeah.
Forbidden Zone had nothing to do with the Harbinger's disappearance. That should be clear now that you've spoken to Fremine.
But we've already uncovered that there's something wrong with the infirmary, and we've answered a bunch of questions that you threw at us. Isn't it about time that you answer our last question in return?
You make a compelling case. Do you really want to know the answer that badly?
ขอบคุณของขวัญนะครับ
He wants to know.
Even if the truth may not be pleasant?
เอา
Follow me.
มันกดไปเท่าไหร่วะ กดไปเท่าไหร่กดไปเท่าไหร่วะ5 20 35 54 20 5 25 56 30 57 35ครับ35แล้วเนี่ยเห็นไหมโมนา5 ดาวหัวจะปวดตอนนี้ไอ้ที่หลุดนี่กดไปเท่าไหร่วะเดี๋ยวนับมาดิ50 15 20 25 30 35 40 45 50 55 60 65 70 75 80 81 82โอ้โห82แล้วหลุดด้วย ลึกชิบหาย โอ้ยแม่งเล่นตัวชิบเป่งเลยเทพน้ำเนี่ยตอนนี้30ใช่ไหมที่กดไป35 35จะชนเทพตลอดเลยมาบ่อยจังตู้หน้าได้ยินว่าโยอิที่รักสาวเยอะเหรอใช่เนี่ยสาวเพียบเลยเนี่ย1 คน 2 คน 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20เนี่ย21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 คนมีสาว41 คนน่ะเห็นเปล่าสาวเยอะมากพ่อนิวผมน่าจะ85ไม่หลุดตะลึกอ๋อนิวเลตเหรอ เฮ้ยมีทางลับด้วยว่ะ
There's a hidden door here? And a whole basement behind it? Huh. You're pretty good at hiding stuff, Risley.
It seems you've forgotten just what kind of place the Fortress of Meripede is. ไปดู Stand on the central plate.
Wait, is there a secret mechanism or... Whoa!
เว้นแต่แต้มยกเว้นแต้มอิโตะหมอไปที่ไม่สุ่ม
So, this is the
เอ
forbidden zone?
อ
Honestly, for a place so well hidden, Paimon sure doesn't see anything special. What a huge door!
There are
Alright,
3 such isolation gates in total. Generally speaking, I'm the only one who's allowed to go inside. Hence the name Forbidden Zone. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well, Paimon wasn't thinking of keeping anything from them.
Well, I'd advise you wait until you've seen the whole truth of this place for yourself before deciding whether or not to tell them.
Uh,
โอ้โหแสบตามากข้างล่าง ถ้าพูดเบาๆนี่จะได้ยินปะเนี่ย
Huh. So there's a switch on the side.
Stand back.
ถอยหลังไปหน่อย
Whoa. They all just went up one by one.
Go on, have a look.
เมื่อไหร่จะได้เพชรสักทีครับ จะได้กดเทพน้ำเนี่ย น่าจะได้อีกโลนึงมั้งว่าจะเปลี่ยนจอมาเล่นแล้วจอใหม่นี้ดีขึ้นเยอะเลย
I've been interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Meripede. Of course, it would be unwise to recklessly open it, but it'd also be risky and negligent to simply ignore any potential danger that could be behind it. The readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, the needle has crept upwards from its original position,
โอ้ย
likely
แสบ
because
ตา
some
เว้ย
parameter it's been tracking has changed, if only infinitesimally. Normally, I would have ignored it, but I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses what the reading could be tracking?
เดี๋ยวนะ
Very reasonable guesses. I've considered
เรา
both
พูด
of
มา
those
สิ
as
ว่าจะ
well.
ได้ยินไหม
Unfortunately, our dashboard is tracking something less ordinary. The temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for something that rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. We ran a few tests to increase the pressure from the outside,
เสียงเกมดั
but
ง
the
กว่าปะ
readings didn't change at all. Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with the primordial sea. I began to make a few preparations based on that
โล
hypothesis.
โลได้ยินปะ
Over the
ได้
past
ยินไหม
few days, the needle has moved again.
เกมก
With
บกด
that
แน่
and
ๆเล
the
ย
symptoms that Fremine displayed after leaving the fortress, I can now confidently conclude that the readings represent the concentration of primordial seawater in the seawater nearby.
พูดเบาๆได้ยินอ่ะ
Concentration of primordial seawater? But we're already under the sea!
อ๋อ
And that is precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Somehow, primordial seawater got mixed in, and the concentration is steadily rising. Yes, that's very likely.
But forget about the two of us. Not even Novelette knows where the primordial sea could be, much less where we could find and plug a leak. Oh. Oh!
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath this sluice gate. For some reason, the primordial seawater levels have risen significantly, and it's now very close to us. The indicators are now
Oh.
red.
เลิก
Although
ฉาย
the
ตรง
gate
นี้ที่
still
แสบตาเหลือ
stands,
เกิน
some primordial seawater has already leaked out and mixed into the sea around us. If
โคตร
this
แสบตาเลยตรงนี้
continues, soon it will no longer be able to hold back the primordial sea at all. Yeah, you know what the legends say. If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine will be turned into puddles in the span of a night.
เขาแท็กอะไรวะน่ะ
But that's just too weird! Why would the Fortress of Meripede be built right above a sluice gate for the primordial sea? Who built this place anyway?
Your expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated conspiracy. To be honest, you might find the actual answer may be exceedingly boring. It's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation before I rediscovered it with my research. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Meripede in any traditional sense. What we know about its history has been left to us by the people who used to live here. When the previous Hydro Archon Egeria ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine were exiled. The people drove the criminals away like a wolf pack chasing away the banished.
เรามาโดนบ่นแน่
Criminals received
ฟ้อ
no
งไม่คูล
sympathy
นะ
of any kind for
ฟ้อง
the
อะไร
people.
ไม่ได้ทำอะไร
They
เล
were
ย
exiled to the desolate seaside, where they
ไม่ได้
experienced
ทำอะไร
only
เล
pain,
ย
struggle, and the bone-chilling cold. Some of them began to repent and prayed to the Hydro Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon took pity on them and said, "You may go guard my secret, deep underneath the waves." And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. They became a community down there in the deeps, and over the
ส
years
ภาสูงไม่ถู
helped
กใจ
it
สิ่ง
grow.
นี้
As
อะไร
the
วะ
number
น่ะ
of exiles increased, more and more people joined the community.
ชั่ว
When
โมง
the first
17
group
นา
of
ทีเหรอ
exiles
ไวเหมือนกันนะ
died,
เนี่ย
they left the yet unfinished fortress to their successors. The Hydro Archon continued to lend her support, allowing the fortress and what it stood for to continue growing ever larger. Before long, this dark underwater fortress became the sinner's only home. And with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners
สภาสู
who
ก
would
ด
regain their
เฮ้ย
freedom
อย่า
once
เพิ่ง
they
โกร
had
ธ
sufficiently
ไม่ได้
redeemed
ทำอะไรเล
themselves.
ย
But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had gotten used to life here, they could no longer feel comfortable living in the overworld. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered souls fade away with the ancient secrets of the past.
ไม่รู้ว่าเข้า
After
ดิสไป
many,
แล้วเสียง
many
มันจะเบาหรือเปล่า
centuries,
นะ
few people still remember the reason for the fortress's founding. Now they just see it as an integral pillar of Fontainian society, as the place where criminals deserve to be sent.
ฉากโคตรแสบตา
Now
เลย
and again, researchers manage to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress. I learned all this from an elderly historian. Everyone else just thought he'd made it all up.
But now you know every part of that history is true.
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says. If
โอ้ย
this gate
เอาอีก
fails,
แล้วแสบตาเหลือ
then
เกิน
everyone will be dissolved into the sea.
เรื่องของคนจะถูกนำไปขึ้นในชั้นศาล เฮ้ยเชิญศาลเลยเหรอใจเย็น
To be frank, not really. But sadly, that hasn't stopped this prophecy from proving all too accurate. Prophecies are troublesome things. Just hearing one will create the first wave of panic. Seeing signs of it will bring about the second, and actually witnessing it, let's go somewhere else. I want to show you something.
ฉ ากแสบตาโคตรเยอะ
This is it.
Your
Ow.
Grace, perfect timing. The results from our last round of experiments have.
Wait, Jurier, he's not alone.
อ้าวโป๊ะแล้วไอ้สองคนนี้
Lorvine and Jurier?
No need to panic, you two. I've already told them about our plan.
What? After you warned us not to tell a single soul about any of this?
I'm skeptical as well. Are you sure they are trustworthy?
The results speak for themselves, don't they? These two may already know more than you could ever imagine.
All right then, if your
น้อง
Grace
นนท์ยังอยู่ไหม
insists.
They seem harmless enough, so I'll trust them for now.
How about some reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest-ranked researchers from the Fontaine Research Institute. He used to work under Edwin. I trust that you've heard of Edwin? Good. Saves me a bit of time explaining. Edwin's main areas of research were archaeum and gravimeters. As his assistant, Jurier is quite familiar with them as well. I hired him to be my
คาสึกิ
technical
ไปแล้ว
consultant.
You want to blow up the fortress of Meripede?
Ah, what a lovely idea. I'm already imagining it in my head.
อ๋ออยู่
Gotta admit,
ไอ
I'm
กิจ
tempted
กรร
as
ม
well.
อันแรกมัน
Guys,
เล่นไงอ่ะ
focus!
That taskmaster over there is Miss Lorvine, and is also one of my technical consultants. While Jurier used to be Edwin's assistant, she used to be Jurier's assistant.
กิจล่าสุดครับ
Ooh,
กิจ
are
ล่าสุด
they together?
น้องลาออกไปอยู่กับพี่ครูแล้ว
See,
อะไร
everyone
วะ
keeps asking this
ขอโท
question.
ษ
Are you too sure
อย่า
you're
อ
not
อ
a
ก
couple and just using
ได้
your
โปรด
work
อยู่
as
กับ
a
ผมก่อน
convenient cover?
เดี๋ยวเพิ่งไป
Your Grace, I am not in a relationship with this man.
If I dated her, I'd officially be madder than Edwin.
Jeez, forget I said anything then. Follow me.
ไปด้วย อย่าเลย
There's another door that goes right up.
ฉันกำลังขอร้อง
Your
อ้อนว
constant
อนเธอ
amazement
อย่า
makes it
ไป
seem like the
ทิ้ง
fortress can
ตัว
do
ลงภู
anything.
เขาเอาหน้าเข้าไปซ้ายเอ้ย ไม่ใช่นี่หว่า
But Paimon really thinks everything's super cool.
กิดโซ่ลิงบวกมอนไม่ใช่พัซเซอร์ใช่อันนั้นแหละ
Well, let's spice it up a bit. And here you go.
What a huge...
เมื่อกี้ไม่มีใครได้ยินเพลงใช่ไหม
This
โชค
is
ดีไป
also a production zone that Paimon's never seen before. What's going on?
How much do you know about Fontainian history?
Not much at all.
Well, then maybe you haven't heard the story of
ใช้
ancient
ตัวละคร
Lemuria.
เต็มโซ่
To give you a quick rundown, Fontaine used to be ruled by the Lemurian dynasty.
อ๋อตัวละครทด
According
ลอง
to legend, the Lemurian king Remus came to this land after
นี่อะไร
being
เรือมันเหรอ
inspired by divine revelation and found the seer Sibila,
เรือบิน
taken
เหรอ
on
วะ
the form of a golden bee. Taking the golden bee with him and riding on a huge ship, the Fortuna, he created his nation above the surging waves. He called his nation Lemuria and used the Fortuna to incessantly search for new tribes and islands, calling on them to join his empire.
There's a ship in this story too?
เต็มซองหูไป
Where
เลย
there's water, there'll be ships. People believe that hope can always be found at the end of a voyage.
Do you believe that
เต็ม
too?
หูอะไรฟังผิดเปล่า
To a point, I think. As you've already seen, I have a whole factory's worth of labor, materials, and technology at my disposal. Certainly can't hurt to give it a try. So the moment I began to speculate that the primordial sea might lie underneath the gate, I also began this project.
Were you inspired by the legendary Fortuna?
Maybe. Fontainians need something to hold on to cope with the impending disaster. Were the workers to find out the truth behind this ship, riots would destroy the fortress faster than any catastrophe. As the fortress's administrator, I'd never make such a reckless call. Alright, that's enough talking for now. I'll need another 3 cups of tea to soothe my throat. Do you have any other questions? Seems like you're good. Come on, I'll take you back.
โอ้โห แสบตาอีกแล้ว แล้วเขาแท็กอะไรกันวะเนี่ยในดิสเนี่ยเดี๋ยวดูดีก
I'll
ว่าดิ
leave you here for now.
2-3 ดิสแล้วแท็กอะไร
Thank you so much.
No worries. But don't forget, it's up to you whether or not you want to share what you just saw. What you do from here on out will likely affect those three as well.
อ๋อเขาแท็กบอกนี่เอง
Yeah, we'll put a lot of thought into it for sure.
Great. I look forward to what happens next.
ไปอยู่กับพี่ดีกว่าหนูไปคุมด้วยคุมไม่ไหวแล้วอะไรห้ามไปเนี่ยอันนี้มันเล่นยังไงอ่ะมันอ้าวอันไหนวะเนี่ยชาร์จไฟฟ้าทำยังไงผมไม่เคยทำชาร์จไฟฟ้าซะด้วยก็เลยทำไม่ถูกอันอื่นน่ะเป็นหมดนะอันนี้ระเหยเดี๋ยวลองก่อนระเหยโอ้ยคาซึฮะเราแรงกว่าเอาเป็นเน็ตเข้ามาเป็นเน็ตเราไม่ได้ปั้นไอ้พวกนี้ด้วยโทมัสเอาโล่มาน้องไปอาบน้ำแล้วช็อตไฟฟ้าป่ะไม่แน่ใจอ่ะเฮ้ยไปไหนห้ามไปไปดูไป
Into the wind. Check this out.
อ้าวอันนี้มันต้องอะไรวะชีวิตกันเนาะไปดูไป ยังไรมีลงดันอะไรไหมเดี๋ยวเอาอันนี้ก่อนอันนี้เล่นไงวะลืมแล้วเมื่อกี้มันให้ทำอะไรนะจะให้ช่วยลงดันฮันเตอร์ได้เดี๋ยวไปช่วยระเหยบอกว่ามันไม่เห็นขึ้นเลยมันโดนปะเนี่ยขอบคุณผู้ติดตามใหม่ด้วยนะครับไฟน้ำอ๋อนี่ไง
I'm getting sick of this. Go ahead.
ครบยังวะ20แล้ว
Killjoy, we've only just begun.
Here's backup. Clouds high. The birds come. Cascade. The depth back.
อ้าว
You need to hurry up.
Be still.
อ๋อมันระเหยกับตัวนี้ก็ได้นี่หว่า
Wind strike. Fire it up. Fallen leaves adorn my night. Supporting fire.
Everybody stand back.
Coming, Sato. Suiyu.
แตกซะ เรียบร้อย
Frozen. Crisp.
นี่ไง
Come on, let's get it done.
ระเหยบอกว่า
Here's backup.
เรียบร้อย
Clouds high. The birds come. Cascade.
เ ดาบล่มนึกว่าดาบซองใช่ใช่ดาบล่มแล้วไปคาสุฮะใช้ดาบอ๋อนี่อ่านแล้วดาบล่มไอ้ดาบที่มันตีทีนึงแล้วมันจะได้บัฟอะของมาเฮ้ยกดได้โลนึงว่ะลองดิบูริน่าออกนี่จะดีมากโอ้มาเป็นธนูอันนี้ทำยังไงชาร์จไฟฟ้าต้องใช้น้ำหรือเปล่าวะเราไม่ได้เอาเราไม่ได้เล่นตอนแรกเราไม่ได้เล่นนิววิลเลจก็เลยไม่ได้แง่ๆเลยเนี่ยขอให้น้องรักน้องหลงขอให้ออกโลน่า ตอนแรกผมไม่ได้ใช้นิวไอ้นี่นิววิลเลจมันก็เลยไม่ติดก็ว่าทำไมมันไม่ผ่านวะนี่ไงได้แล้วโอ้โหเอ้าเหลือตัวไหนเดี๋ยว
Stabilize. Bow your head.
Emerge. Right here.
เอ้านิววิลเลจเป็นเวทเหรอวะเนี่ยกด E แล้วชาร์จตีเลยยังเล่นไม่เป็นเดี๋ยวไปทางซ้ายมาดีกว่าไปขวาบ่อยแล้วต้องเล่นชาร์จตี
Solidify.
Right now. Right here. Right now.
The tides beckon.
เยี่ยมอ๋อเฮ้ยโอ้โหมันสกิลมันแรงมันโอ้มันอย่างนี้นี่เองผมที่ไปแต่ขวาใช่บางทีผมก็ไปขวาติดเมตาน้ำเหรอโอ้ไม่ติดก็ไอ้นี่แหละ
Right here.
Stabilize. Silence.
Right now. Emerge.
Let the mighty be humbled.
โอ้โหแรงชิบหายเอาทางไหนวะทางนี้
Right here. Emerge.
Bow your head.
เอาไปกินอ๋อแต่มันต้องใช้เลือดแรกนี่หว่า
This is order. Solidify.
Come on out. Right now. Right here. I'm always watching.
The tide beckon. New punch. Settle down. I will have order. Gather. No escape. Take that. Try to.
Finally. Some target practice. Emerge. Right here.
Let the mighty be humbled.
Come on out. Show them.
Raise a storm!
Bow your head.
Where do you think
มันเรียกเพื่อนมา
Solidify. Order guide you.
Ninjutsu.
ล็อกแมนขึ้นเต่า ได้แล้วกดคิวครั้งหนึ่งสามารถชาร์จตีได้2 ครั้งอ๋อมันรู้สึกมันใช้พลังงานเลือดใช่ไหมเมื่อกี้แบบพอกดทีแล้วเลือดหายหวบเลยเฮ้ยพวกนี้อ๋ออันนี้ของพวกนี้แน่ๆอันนี้ลองไปแล้วมีอยู่40ไม่พอใช่แต่รูปกลมสีฟ้าจะฮีลให้3 เม็ดอ๋อไอ้ลูกแก้วเมื่อกี้นะ
We're back!
Welcome back. Do you want a cup of tea?
How can you be so much like Risley, always drinking tea?
Huh. Actually, now that you mention it, I just remembered something now. While I was sedated, I could still barely hear 2 people talking next to me. They were discussing everything, from the leaves to the water and even the teacups themselves.
Must have been Risley and Seashween.
Yeah, I heard 1 male voice and 1 female, so it should have been the 2 of them. They really were just talking about brewing tea.
I really can't make sense of this place.
So, Traveler, Paimon, were you able to learn anything from Risley?
Yeah, he explained everything.
Very well. Then, would you mind checking your answers against my speculations? Yeah, I took the time to rest, so I'm feeling a lot more relaxed now.
Nobody else is around, and Miss Sejuin is also busy with something or other, so let's just talk here.
All right, then I'll posit my theories. I asked myself 3 questions. Firstly, why was Fremine affected by the primordial seawater? It was because he dove into the sea. My theory is, the long-lost primordial sea is probably very close to the fortress of Meropide.
Nah.
Ooh, he's good. He got that right on the first try.
That's Arlini.
Secondly, Risley's attitude changed dramatically during the course of our stay here. He ignored us completely at first, then suddenly roadblocked us. Why? I spent quite a long time thinking about this. If he has been monitoring the Fatui since the very beginning, he probably ignored us at first because he was hoping we could find Master Child for him. What's more, the Fortress of Meropide is not part of Fontaine's court system, nor does it report to Udex Nervulet. Risley is basically the king of a no-man's land. As long as the fortress doesn't do anything about Master Child's disappearance, Father can use it to pressure the Fontaine authorities. And while the 2 factions are pitted against each other, Risley will be free to move between the parties of interest. If I had to guess, he probably has something that he's working on himself. It's likely related to the secret of the infirmary, but I just can't think of what it could be.
You're super smart.
Thanks so much. Then finally, there's the last question. If Risley does have a plan, what could it be? All I know for now is that his plan probably has something to do with the changing nature of the seawater. He's even gotten Cloran to help him out. That can't be the full extent of what he's doing. There's probably a secret passageway behind the block in the infirmary, and there's something big in the fortress that most people here never get to see. He has a bargaining chip, and it could be important enough for Father to deal with him directly. I don't have enough information, so I have no idea what his chip might be. But let me guess. You have the last piece of the puzzle.
I can't believe it.
The sea will engulf everyone, just like the prophecy said.
Could Risley have wanted to meet Father to figure out a way to deal with this crisis? If you remember, I once mentioned that Father sees the House of the Hearth as her base of operations, and she truly wants to resolve the crisis. But how could Risley have known that?
Or perhaps he didn't know and just wanted to bring father over to his side, which could be why he said he just wanted to negotiate.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I understand your concerns as well, Traveler. I'll figure out a way to pass this on to our father. No matter what, we're on your side. The two of you have already aided us far too much. We probably wouldn't be standing here right now if not for you. If you ever need anything else going forward, please come to the House of the Hearth at any time.
บ้านแสน
Though
อ
you
บ
may
อุ่น
not share the sentiment, after all that we've gone through together, the three of us basically see you as family now.
You have my gratitude.
Thank you for protecting Linny when it really mattered. And thank you for sharing the secrets of the fortress with us. We didn't think you were going to do it.
Why are you being so formal all of a sudden?
Given your strength, you might not need our help at all. But if you are ever in danger, we will try our best to protect you.
Aww, the sound of that makes Paimon feel all warm and safe inside.
เฮ้ย ท้องร้องว่ะ
Paimon's hungry.
Oh, you've done so much already. Go get some food.
Alright, then we'll catch you guys another time.
ไปที่โรงอาหาร เอาข้างล่างนี่โดดลงไปเลยก็ได้
It's time for dinner. Welfare meals now being served in the coupon cafeteria.
Come on, let's go pick up ours as well. Traveler and Paimon, over here. Are you here for dinner too, Miss Sijwin? And I'm taking the opportunity to prepare Miss Cloran's dinner as well. Huh. You're right. She's actually sitting in the fortress cafeteria. What would you like to eat? Yep, you can. I've already talked to our chef, Mr. Wolsey. It's all on me today, so you can get whatever you'd like. Me too! Don't forget Paimon! No problem. Just leave it to me. So delicious. Is this how it feels to be freeloaders? Wait a second, we did do plenty of work after all. Feeling full yet? How's the food? Delicious. I'm so glad to see you all so happy. Oh, see, the expression on your face just now? The muscle here just moved, which suggests that you're feeling quite relaxed at the moment. Sijwin, do you do this to help your patients or to better understand human beings? A bit of both, I suppose. I'm a Melusine, which means I'm very different from human beings. I must know what you're thinking if I want to take good care of you. You're really good at taking care of people. Even though you're so short, you still talk and act like an older sister. Really? You're reminded of an older sister? That's great to hear. Oh, and what did you mean back in Risley's office? When you said that you were protecting Linny and his siblings as well? Oh, that. I just asked His Grace to look out for those children, especially that diver boy. I was getting a bit worried after hearing that something was wrong with the water. Thankfully, Glorand is very strong and managed to save him in the nick of time. His Grace also sealed the pipes after Glorand left, to make sure that Linne wouldn't impulsively chase after his brother. Although the path was blocked, we still stationed some guards there to stop anyone from approaching. They were instructed to only open the door once Miss Glorand had returned. Oh, and I was keeping an eye on Mr. Linne as well. We had to press him, but we couldn't allow him to be in any real danger.
You were all super considerate and really thought everything through.
It's just what we do down here at the fortress. At least this has been His Grace's style for as long as he's been the leader. Oh, I really wish Monsieur Nervula would come down here more often too. I feel like he'd like it here, with all the darkness and chaos. Get a good night's rest, you two. You both worked very hard.
มาแล้วกลับไปพักผ่อนที่โซนห้องขังมันจะให้เราอยู่ห้องขังอีกเหรอเนี่ย
Has happened. Paimon just feels absolutely exhausted now that she's finally relaxed. Paimon's super sleepy. Are you sleepy too?
จะจบตอนไหนวะเนี่ยนานจัดเลยเฮ้ยนอนไวจังวะไพมอนหลับไปแล้วเหรอเนี่ย
Delicious. Paimon wants seconds for free.
Out of my way! Get out of my way!
อะไรวะ
What happened? Why is everyone running? No idea, but something must have happened. Stop asking!
อ้าวเกิดเรื่องอะไรวะ
Who's yelling? Paimon still wants to sleep.
อะไรอะออกไปตรวจดูข้างนอกเอาวิ่งอะไรกันวะ
What happened? Why is everyone running around?
ขอบคุณของขวัญนะครับ
Doing?
No time to explain, mate. Goodbye.
Hey, wait! What's wrong with these people? They won't even talk to us.
They're here! There you are!
Oh, thank goodness!
Quisto and Lavaroon, do you know what happened here?
อะไรอะ
We came here especially to inform you. Something seems to have gone terribly wrong just now.
อพยพ
Miss
เหรอ
Grace is telling everyone to evacuate and get out of here. Lavaroon was saying you two are new here and you don't have many friends, so you might slip through the cracks. Haven't you heard all the stories like that? An evacuation is successfully completed, yet you only find out once you do a head count that 1 or 2 people are missing.
Wait, weren't you the one who brought that up? Why is it suddenly my idea?
Hey, shut up!
Okay, whatever. The point is, you should come with us.
อพยพไปด้านนอก
Yeah,
เหรอ
he said to
ทำ
get
ไม
as
ดนตรี
far
มันเล้า
away
อย่าง
as
นี้เนี่ย
possible, upwards and outwards.
Oh no, it can't be that thing!
Oh,
เกิดปัญหา
What? Hey, where are you going?
We have to
Ow.
go find the Duke! You two just go and get out! Go on without us!
Hey, hey! Be careful!
Attention, please evacuate upwards and
เอา
outwards, upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try to move as far outwards as
เฮ้ย
possible.
เกิดอะไรขึ้นวะ
Attention, please evacuate upwards and outwards,
วิ่งกันเต็มเลยเว้ย
upwards and outwards. If you're already at the topmost layer, then try to move as far outwards as
โอ้
possible.
โห วุ่นวาย ไปที่ห้องทำงาน มันจะประกาศอย่างนั้นเรื่อยๆเหรอถ้าเราไม่ไปไหนอ่ะ ข้างล่าง ลงลิฟต์ไปดูดิ เฮ้ย คัสซีนว่ะ
They're here.
ตามคาด
Just like I said.
What happened?
เอ้า ใครทำอะไร
You're just in time. But be ready to run.
เตรียมสู้เหรอ โอ้โห แชร์ได้สวยมาทำงานก่อนเดี๋ยวมา โอเคครับ เอา
3, 2, 1.
ปิดประตู โอ้โห แช่ไว้
This won't hold it for long. Find Neuvillette. Tell him the defenses are about to collapse.
Then what will happen to you?
Until he arrives, we're the last line of defense. The gate. How long do you think it'll hold?
That depends on us.
ไปตามนิวเวลเลตมา
Neverlet, why are you here?
เอ้า
Traveler, I need you to head to the Opera House immediately. Farina will soon be meeting with the knave there. You must protect Farina and make sure she doesn't spend too much time alone with her.
อ๋อ เฮ้ย
Will do. You have my sincerest gratitude.
อย่าบอกนะว่าต้องสู้กับเดอะเนฟอ่ะ เอาสิน่าจะเนฟมันท่าอะไรวะ เดอะเนฟมันท่าอะไร
Look, there are a ton of Fatilian Palais Mermonia people over there. The knave is probably here already.
น่าถือวิชั่นไฟ
We need to hurry.
อ๋อ
Are you two the traveler in Paimon? Monsieur Nervalet has left instructions. Please follow me. Though I'm sure he's already explained, this should be a mostly cordial conversation unlikely to give rise to violence. But it would be most appreciated if you could protect Lady Farina to the best of your abilities.
เรามาคุ้มครองเทพน้ำว่ะ ดีครับสวัสดีครับ อ้าวมันโหลดนานจังวะ มาแล้ว ยิ้มเฉย
Oh, so you two
Yes,
are
huh?
the honored guests Miss Farina mentioned.
Of course, of course. How could they not attend a meeting such as this? I must always have 2 or more guests at my dessert table. Otherwise, the occasion
ชอบ
would
ดนตรี
be
เมือง
too
นี้ว่ะ
lonely and unbecoming of my station.
It is my pleasure to make your acquaintance, traveler.
โอ้ย
I've
มัน
heard
รู้จัก
much
แล้วด้วย
of
ว่ะ
your accomplishments. I am the knave, one of the 11 Fatui harbingers.
พ่อของพวกไรนี่ ดูจะรับมือได้ยากพอตัว
I've already prepared seats for you. Come, sit beside me.
ข้างๆโอ้นั่งข้างๆเทพน้ำเลยเหรอ
Perhaps
วะ
you are unaware of how Miss Farina and I do things. You see, we actually recently agreed to get together for tea when we had the time. See this? This is a limited type of confectionery that Miss Farina simply adores. There are only 16 slices sold every day. Here, why don't you and Paimon have a taste?
เฮ้ย สีหน้าดูเป็นเม็ดแต่ทุกอย่างคงไม่ได้เรียบง่าย ต้องระวัง
Traveler, what do you think of this cake?
เอากินไปแล้วเหรอ กินตอนไหนวะ
That's good to hear. So what Child said was on the mark after all. You do share a taste in desserts with
โอ้ย
Farina
ชายเคย
and
พูด
I.
เล่าให้ฟังด้วยว่ะ ชายพูดเรื่องนี้ไปเพื่ออะไร
I wonder how he's doing nowadays. You must have heard, right? He's suddenly gone missing. I'm really worried about his safety, you know.
ไอ้นี่มันเก่งกว่าชายป่ะ
Here's to hoping
ใช่ไหม
that he's an excellent
ชายมันอยู่
swimmer.
ล่างสุดเลยนี่ใช่ป่ะ
Since we're talking about him, I feel like I should add something. His martial prowess really looked
อ้าว
certainly pretty impressive, yeah.
ฟีฟูริน่าดูเกรงก็มีบางอย่าง
Oh, so you're also familiar with his aptitude for fighting, Miss Farina. Oh, right. I almost forgot.
ระดับ5หรือ
Child was subdued by Udex Nuvilette right in front of you.
อุ้ย
Against ordinary
ถ้า
people,
7ก็
my
เก่งกว่า
colleague
ซิก
would
โนล่า
never
นั่นน่ะ
be on the back foot. But alas, he just never imagined he'd run into such a person. I must express my admiration for
มันมี
Monsieur
สูตรด้วยไม่ใช่เหรอ
Nuvilette.
ไอ้ที่ไม่มีลำดับอ่ะ ไอ้ตาลุงนั่นน่ะ ไอ้ตาลุงมันชื่ออะไรวะ ลำดับ0น่ะ ที่มันแบบขั้นเทพเลยอ่ะ
Coming from you, that's not surprising at all.
But I thought you would be happier to hear the news.
Of course, but it's still a bit of a shame. You see, I would have been far happier had I received this news somewhat earlier. As you well know, a long time has passed since Child disappeared.
อ๋อปีอาโร่ไม่นับเหรอทำไมฟูริน่ามาดูกลัวๆวะ
Well, in any case, there's no need to worry. We know for sure that Child is still alive.
Oh, and just how do you know that?
ไพมอน
Because we found evidence that proved he left the Fortress of Mirapede.
And where did he go after leaving the fortress?
นั่นไงมันจี้แล้วไพมอนมึงจะพูดทำไมวะแย่แล้วคำพูดของไพมอนมีช่องโหว่เนี่ยไพมอนไม่พูดทำไมเนี่ย
The Fortress of Mirapede lies deep beneath the waves. Unless he pranced right out of the main gate, he must have had to swim for it. Do you have any proof that he surfaced safely?
ไม่มีหลักฐานบ่งบอกว่าเกิดเรื่องไม่ดีเหมือนกัน
That is good news at least. His sister Tonya sent a letter to Fontaine not too long ago. Since he was unfortunately unavailable, I picked it up on his behalf. Do you have any idea how he usually writes back to his family? Dear Tonya, your letter made me feel like we were still enjoying our time in Snezhnaya together. I'm currently admiring the scenery on the streets in front of the opera house. Is it something like that?
แต่กดดันไม่หยุดเลยฉันอาจจะเถียงชนะเธอไม่ได้แต่สามารถรับความกดดันแทนฟูริน่าได้แหละน่าจะเขียนแบบนี้
All letters tend to follow the same few formats anyway, right? As long as the contents are accurate, it doesn't matter so much how it's written or how it's worded. Huh?
เป็นอะไรวะนะ
Hold on. The water in the
ชาในถ้วย
teacup
กำลัง
is
สั่น
shaking.
เฮ้ย
I suppose this is also a sign of things to come, Miss Farina.
Huh? I don't quite understand what you're trying to say.
Have we entered into the next stage of the prophecy?
ฟูริน่าแม่งเกรงชิบหายอะไรอะนิววิลเลจมาข้างล่างอ๋อสถานการณ์ข้างล่าง
My thanks to you both. I will take it from here.
Sure you don't need a hand?
Quite sure.
Wow. So, what's your secret, huh? Let me guess. Nah, who knows? Maybe it's just your sense of responsibility.
ไอ้นี่มันเป็น
Sounds about right.
นิววิลเลจเป็นใครกันแน่เอา
A day may come when the prophecy is fulfilled and the waters burst forth. But it is not this day.
เฮ้ย
This
หยุด
ancient
น้ำได้
path
ด้วย
could easily obliterate an entire race. A tsunami of fury would unleash endless catastrophe.
Oh.
This sentence is too severe. Forgive me for overruling it.
เก่งจังวะข้างบนนี้ยังไง
All right. Seems like the problem inside has been suppressed.
Let me guess. We're safe for now.
Indeed. But only for now.
I win this bet. You owe me a present.
Very well. It was indeed just as you said.
You made a bet?
We made a bet on the size of your entourage. Cloran thought you wouldn't come down by yourself.
I figured you would have at least brought a few people along for appearance's sake. It appears I underestimated just how confidential the mission was.
Shouldn't you have gotten used to confidential missions by now? That's just how the courts operate.
So what gift must the loser give? Tea?
He already has tons of tea in his office. I'm thinking about a set of legal codices.
That wouldn't happen to be a dig at my lack of legal awareness, would it?
Well, I'm sure His Grace doesn't consider the fortress to be outside the law.
I was under the impression the residents of a place like this would be uninterested in the legal codices.
That was obviously a joke. Anyway, you've still got some unfinished business to attend to in the overworld, correct?
No need to stay here if you have a pressing matter. We all know you can't leave Palais Marmonia for long.
Thank you.
สมาคมกินชา
I hope everything went smoothly with the Futuri Harbinger.
มันมังกรของเมืองนี้ยังไม่เจอนะของซุเมรุเจอแล้วแต่มังกรของเมืองนี้ยังไม่เจอเลยไม่รู้ว่าหน้าตาเป็นแบบไหนแล้วข้างบนนี่ยังไงวะมาแล้วข้างบน
I must say, we've spent long enough playing house. Miss Farina, as the Hydro Archon, I am sure you understand the exact meaning of the phenomenon we just witnessed. Or should I say, that's what I originally thought. But looking at your expression, was I wrong? And you haven't a clue?
What are you trying to say?
At this point, I don't think there's any more need to speak as diplomatic representatives. Allow me to speak to you now as just a Fontanian. You know the prophecy by heart, and also that every part of it is being proven true. Yet, here you are relaxing, drinking tea, and eating desserts as if it's all nothing more than a few stray bugs in your garden. Do you really think that's acceptable? The prophecy is hanging above our necks like a guillotine. Every faction is looking for a way to either avert the disaster or save their own. Even the orphans of the House of the Hearth have devoted everything to saving their homeland. But you, it beggars belief just how nonchalant and carefree you have been. From the very beginning, you, the god Fossilor, you have utterly failed to take action.
You're wrong. I've never ignored the prophecy, nor have I just been passing the time in self-indulgence. Retract your accusation and stop doubting the wisdom of the gods with such absurd conjectures.
I am not alone in my doubts, you know. All the children of Fontaine may be harboring the exact same thoughts right now. Oh, great Hydro Archon. How are you going to save them? Save us? How are the people you've sworn to protect supposed to survive in a land that will soon disappear beneath the waves?
I have my ways, and I've been working on them for all this time. Even if you look down upon me, you have no right to judge me. Fontaine will be saved. Even if I still cannot see the true future right now, as long as I continue on as I am, I will be able to hold my head up high.
คือน่าจะเหมือนไม่
Then I ask you, Miss Farina, just what have you been working on? Where can we see it, and what is it doing to help?
เหมือนพูดไม่ได้เลยนะ
Machinations are just like the prophecy itself.
นี่ไงยังพูดไม่ได้
They will only reveal themselves at the fated time. It is just that beings like yourselves are unable to perceive them as of yet.
I see. As a god, the proof of your labor always lies beyond prying mortal eyes. Allow me to be so bold as to ask another way. Would it be possible for you to tell us the parts of your plan that are not confidential, such as your emergency response plan for the impending disaster?
An emergency response plan?
เอาอีกแล้ว
That look in your eyes. Have you not even prepared one of those?
The emergency response plan is also strictly confidential.
Then allow me to jog your memory. Miss Farina, what is the purpose of your oratrice mécanique d'analyse cardinal? And what do you plan to do with the massive amounts of indemnitium that has accumulated over the years?
The oratrice? It's just like it appears to be.
So you also have no idea. If I'm not mistaken, someone's using it to prepare for something. But unfortunately, it would seem that someone is not you, Miss Farina. I first caught wind of this when Linny tried to investigate the oratrice in the Opera House. You see, even just getting close to the core contaminated him with an extremely large amount of indemnitium. But even if that had nothing to do with you, then what could you possibly be working on, oh great Hydro Archon? Oh, right. I almost forgot. Udex Nouvillette is not at the tea party with us today. Miss Farina, I suppose you must have ordered him away to take care of some troublesome business.
Yes, that's exactly right. Please keep it a secret for me.
Of course I will. Although, I must say, Miss Farina, you seem quite insecure without the Udex by your side. Oh, very well. Let's stop that conversation here. There are still a few slices of cake left, so please, help yourselves, everyone.
คุยเรื่องตึงนี้จะกินได้เหรอวะ
Traveler, I heard that you were recently commissioned to handle a few matters on behalf of the Udex. Why don't you take an extra slice of cake? Those who work hard deserve gratitude and praise. You too, Paimon.
Paimon ด้วย
Thank you. Paimon will take you up on that offer.
เกลี้ยง
Oh, Paimon's super full. That cake was great.
If it's on my tea table, it must be of the highest quality. Yes, and we must thank the knave for bringing these over as well.
You're welcome. I'm sure the cake also felt greatly honored to be featured at Miss Farina's table, and I was merely catering to Miss Farina's tastes, seeking a chance to chat over tea. It is getting late. Why don't we call it a day? There are still a few matters that I need to take care of, so I must take my leave now.
Very well. We'll end it here.
Mind seeing me off, traveler? We could use the opportunity to discuss child before I must be on my way.
Oh.
Paimon's coming too!
The tea party turned out to be even more difficult than I'd imagined. Why are you looking at me like that? Is something the matter? If there's nothing urgent, then I shall be retiring for now.
ตามเดอะเนฟไปที่ทางออก ออกไปบวกกัน ออกไป อย่าไปบวก ทำไมมันให้เราเล่นตัวนี้วะ ไม่ให้เล่นตัวอื่นนะ ให้เล่นตัวละครหลักเฉย เดินไม่รอเลยเว้ยเฮ้ย รอด้วยดิ อ๋อ อยู่นู่น
I'm glad that you were willing to come with me. Of course, child was just an excuse. I have no interest in dealings with him.
That's what Paimon thought.
You lent your aid to the children of the House of the Hearth. As their father, I would like to express my gratitude. That was all. Formal topics should be discussed in formal settings, and informal topics in informal settings. I know you just returned from the fortress of Meripede. Relax. I have no intention of trying to get anything out of you. Linny, Lynette, and Fremine are still there, and I trust their judgment and abilities.
They've all been working very hard and have always done all they can to fight back against anyone who tried to stop them, especially Linny.
You mean Ridesley. He's a tricky one to deal with. It's unfortunate that Linny's so eager to prove himself that he can't learn to rely on others, including me. By the way, and you can just consider this a bit of idle gossip, but what's your impression of Furina?
โอ้โหถามอย่างนี้
You are outside of our disputes, and the freest person in all of Fontaine, able to move around most easily. Allow me to share my perspective with you.
And that's everything that happened during the trial. Master Child was declared guilty and immediately transported to the fortress of Meripede.
Didn't he say he was coming here on vacation? Does he not feel an ounce of shame for all the trouble he has caused? Forget it. He did give us an opportunity. I will be meeting someone shortly.
Do you require help with any preparations?
No need. I will take care of it myself. I need to meet with Furina, the Hydro Archon. She is at the heart of Fontaine. But what's fascinating about her is that
เธอเป็นเหมือน
she
ดารามาก
often
กว่าเท
seems
พเจ้า
more like a celebrity than a working Archon.
Oh? Come over here, you little critter, you!
อ๋อ
You
นี่
dare to run from me? Stop right this instant!
My goal
The
was
name
just
and-
to discover the location of the Gnosis. But I didn't expect the chance to approach Furina to be handed to me on a silver platter. This is so easy, it's actually making me a bit suspicious. Anything left unguarded is usually just bait.
เฮ้ย
But no one will blame someone for taking the bait. After all, from the moment it was attached to the hook, the
โดน
bait
สวก
is
แน่
meant to be sacrificed. It's just as I guessed in the second before I struck. The Hydronosis is not currently held by the Archon. In fact, this Archon doesn't seem like a god at all. And I sense that she's under some kind of curse.
Who are you? And what are you trying to do? Please don't kill me! I'm begging you, please!
The fear in her pupils is genuine, so perhaps she's not bait after all. Either way, targeting her has lost all meaning. I left the scene with ease. Nobody came looking for me, and nobody could serve as a witness to my near assassination of fusrodah. I suspect even Furina dares not mention this incident to anyone.
แปลก
Not
ๆนะ
long after, my informants confirmed what I had guessed. After returning to her quarters, Furina quietly cried alone. She was so scared that she could not sleep that night, nor could she even bring herself to eat her cake. There's no doubt that there's something wrong with her. I began to entertain the possibility that she is not the true Hydro Archon. Perhaps Eudex Neuvillette is actually the genuine
Neuvilletteคือ
article. I have to find the Gnosis. If the Neuvillette hypothesis is correct, he is probably in possession of it. Alternatively, it might have been hidden in a place that's hard for ordinary people to access.
Yes, Father.
My dear children, please speak.
News from the fortress of Meripede. Master Child has gone missing. On top of that, the contacts and guards we bribed at the fortress have all gone quiet as well.
Probably the handiwork of that Ridesley.
I'm afraid so.
This is a good opportunity. The value of a harbinger is much higher than most would imagine. We now have an excuse to exert diplomatic pressure on the Fontaine authorities. Set up a meeting for me. I would like to meet the Hydro Archon and Iudex Neuvillette. Oh, and I have an additional mission for you three.
Yes, Father.
Tartaglia's disappearance was not a part of my plan, but I can use it to make a breakthrough. With this as my excuse, I can ask for an official audience and continue my investigation of Farina and Iudex Neuvillette. The initiative belongs to the House of the Hearth. My wish to investigate the fortress of Meripede will be a front. Linny and his group will be responsible for the actual intelligence gathering. You should know the
อ๋อ
rest.
ข้างบน
Linny's group is quite close to you, so they wouldn't have hidden anything from you.
You attacked the Hydro Archon?
It wouldn't mean anything even if you shouted it from the rooftops. After all, even Farina herself is still pretending that nothing of that sort ever happened.
Alright then.
I've now had 2 chances to enjoy tea with Farina. I have to say, the leadership of Fontaine is even more inscrutable than I had imagined. I once surmised that Iudex Neuvillette must be the Hydro Archon, but now, that doesn't seem right to me either. I am a servant of Her Majesty the Tsaritsa. Over my years of service, I've learned how a real Archon conducts and carries themselves. Whether Iudex Neuvillette or Farina, neither fits the bill. It's hard to imagine either of them as the Archon. Of course, that is all just how I feel. Gut feelings often do not require justification. It is, however, quite amusing to me that after all my years working in intelligence gathering, I've come to realize I am at a complete loss regarding the identity of the god of the land of my birth. Don't you think Fontaine is quite intriguing? A catastrophe looms, yet many secrets have yet to rise to the surface. It looks like Fontainians will have no choice but to save themselves. Ultimately, though, one must survive in order to do anything else. Should the need arise, I would be happy to cooperate with you. You don't need to commit to anything right now, of course. I have a feeling that the situation will continue to evolve, and as your name is often connected with noble deeds, I'm sure we will work together someday. He certainly returned quickly. You must want to catch up with each other, so I'll leave you to him.
Neuvillette, is it over?
For now, yes. But this issue will prove quite thorny in the long term. I'm concerned that sooner or later the prophesized events will occur. Thank you for protecting Farina. To put it simply, I used my power to force back the primordial sea and reseal the sluice gate. So as expected, the knave has turned up the pressure on Farina. She's trying to feel her out, though I'm still unsure as to her motives. Permission granted.
Whoa. It can't be that you're the real Hydro Archon, right?
เดามั่วอีกแล้ว
That's just a speculation on our part, though.
เฮ้ยจุดว่ะ
Can't tell us? Then that's okay. We can talk about something else. We won't try to force you. You guys in Fontaine are super strange.
If by the phrase "you guys" you are referring to Farina and I, then although I'm not sure just what you are trying to imply, I must clarify that I do not share her positions on a multitude of topics. I believe so. The fortress has a long and complex history. It has seen much grief and suffering. And now, Another catastrophe will soon be upon us. I mourn this turn of events.
Huh? Why is it raining all of a sudden?
อ้าวฝนตกเฉยฮะนิววิลเลจเป็นมังกรหรือเปล่านี่ไงเคยมีราชามังกรวารีตัวหนึ่งเมื่อไหร่ก็ตามที่มันร้องไห้ฝนก็จะตกลงมาจากฟ้าหรือว่า
You may be closer to the truth
อาจจะเป็นอย่างที่คุณคิดก็ได้นี่ไง
And what are you thinking?
เขาเป็นราชามังกรวารี
Dragon of what? Huh?
Please do not be
อย่า
so
ตกใจขนาดนั้น เอ้าฟูริน่ามาจากไหนอ่ะ
Farina?
Neverland, are you listening?
My apologies.
We were just guessing randomly. We didn't guess right, did we? You're not actually the dragon sovereign of water, right? Well, if you don't want to confirm or deny...
You guessed correctly. I sincerely hope you'll be able to keep this a secret
นั่น
for
ไง
me.
Right, of course. We'll definitely help you keep it a secret. There's still something Paimon wants to ask you, though.
Please, go ahead.
Well, if you are the dragon sovereign of water, and you were able to force back the primordial sea from the fortress, then since Fontaine's prophecy is all about seawater, couldn't you just use your power to solve the crisis?
นี่นิวเป็นหน้า
None of the currently
Yeah.
living dragon sovereigns in the world, myself included, possess our full dragonhood. They say that when the first usurper arrived on Tivat, they seized a part of the dragon's power. Today, that stolen power is the basis of the Archon's authorities.
There are 7 elemental archons and 7 matching dragon sovereigns.
The dragon sovereign of water who lived through that era perished a long time ago. As their successor, I know far less of that part of our ancient history. In any case, I believe I will not be able to do much unless the Archon disappears and returns their elemental authority to me. Given the status quo, however, I would recommend finding another way to deal with the prophecy.
Oh, so even you can't solve it.
I still have some urgent matters to attend to at my office. If you have any more questions regarding ancient history, you are welcome to discuss them with me at a later time.
Please go right ahead. There's a place that Paimon wants to go too. Traveler, why don't we pay another visit to the Fortress of Meripede? Paimon is a little worried. We'll see you another time.
Take care.
โอ้ยังมีอีกเหรอ เวทโคตรยาว ไอ้วาร์ปนี่มันอยู่ไหนหาไม่เจอ ข้างล่างล้วนเลยเหรอ อ๋อมีข้างบนตรงนั้นอันหนึง อาหาร3 คนนี้ก่อนเลย
Now guess, what suit will this next card be?
A bare-teethed cat?
Well, well, look who it is.
Traveler, Paimon.
Hello, everyone.
Looks like you're recovering nicely from it, eh?
Thanks to everyone's support. Oh, right. I managed to work up the courage to thank Miss Clarand in person.
Whoa, how did she react?
She told me that it was nothing. It was as if saving a life wasn't a big deal to her at all. She also told me not to worry about it.
She didn't want to stress you out, that's all. She's right, and it's best not to dwell on it.
Yeah.
Okay, but check this out. We went back to the opera house and we met the knave.
You met Father? Did she say anything to you?
She said a few things that were, a bit hard to understand. And also that she's looking forward to working with us in the future.
Her attitude towards you is even better than what we'd imagined. That's fantastic. You should believe her. She has her own way of doing things, and she'll do everything in her power to help those she considers close, which now might also include you.
Father is very capable, and also trustworthy.
Oh, Paimon just remembered that she thought Linny was a bit too proud as well. She said that you should learn how to rely on others sometimes.
Got it.
That does sound like something that Father would say.
Hey!
Are you going to stay here for the next few days?
Looks like it, yeah.
Excellent. I will host a tea party.
For real? Then Paimon wants another serving of cake.
โอ้
Another
ไพมอนแม่ง
implies that you
ห
were
ลุมอว
already
กาศ
served some delicious cake while you were up there.
เพิ่งกินไปไม่ใช่เหรอวะ
Well, next time, you're going to have tea and snacks with us.
Take it easy.
Traveler, Paimon, you're back!
Are you still doing all right? Did either of you get hurt?
ไม่ต้องห่วงพวกเราสบายดี
But what about you guys? It was such a huge mess. How bad was it?
A few people sustained superficial injuries, but that's about the extent of the damage. Monsieur Nervulette paid us a visit. It was all thanks to him that we managed to suppress the crisis for the time being. Of course, we must also thank you for the help you provided.
How did Nervulette know that he was needed here?
Monsieur Nervulette has strong resonance with the hydro element. When the water level rises, he can feel the waves produced. I ran into the bombshell bros while bandaging the injuries of the wounded. They were mumbling the whole time about how you just ran down without a word. I'm so relieved to see that you're both all right. If you're not too pressed for time, please stay with us a few more days. Just let me know if you get a craving for any particular dish, so I can have Mr. Walsey get your meals prepared. Oh, and please feel free to visit the infirmary for a break at any time. I'd like to take the opportunity to spend some more time observing your facial muscles as well. Your happy smiles are quite contagious, you know. They're so memorable, and I've missed them immensely while you were gone.
Take it easy.
คุยกับไอ้สองคนนี้ซิกวินน้องน่าจะมา 4.5 4.6 น้องตัว 5 ดาวผมก็อยากได้น่าจะเป็นตัวฮิวนะเนี่ยพยาบาลอย่างนั้น
Didn't get caught and thrown back down here, right?
Huh? No, not at all.
And here I thought you'd managed to escape from jail during all the commotion. I'd held you up as legendary jailbreakers, but now you're telling me you just never left?
We're sorry, but we just had some business to take care of.
All right. There's no need to get caught up in the details. We're just relieved to see you. He was super worried about you, you know.
Hey, it wasn't just me. Weren't you super worried as well?
Something like that, yeah. I was also transferred to work in the kitchen a few days ago. I can still hear Quisto mumbling to the carrots. Are those two all right? Do you think they made it out alive? Whenever he'd say that, I'd tell him I'm sure they're fine. Wherever they are, they're kicking back with drinks in hand, enjoying the lovely scenery.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with worrying about your prison pals, is there? I mean, considering how they always love listening to all my gossip.
These two. They sure are a lot warmer and friendlier than when Paimon first met them.
Oh, well, if you say so. I'll be watching you to make sure you finish every last bite.
จะเลี้ยงต้อยโรลิแหละใช่แล้ว สถานที่สุดท้าย
Courier, Miss Sijween told me you still haven't eaten.
Yeah, I was working on something, so I forgot.
That's no excuse for... Huh? It's you two.
Courier, Lurvine, we're back!
Hello there. It's been quite the mess here recently. How have you been?
And you? Are you still taking the secret passageway from the infirmary to work on the ship?
Yep. That is still top secret, though, so don't say a word to anyone.
It can be a bit annoying when there are lots of people in the infirmary, but I still prefer taking that route over the one from the Duke's office.
I mean, the infirmary does make it easier for you to slack off.
Oh yeah? Then why are you also here so much?
You two really are just using your jobs as a cover for your relationship, aren't you?
Not at all!
Do my eyes deceive me, or did I just see two inmates come back after making it to the surface? Some strange winds blowing of late.
We wanted to see how the fortress is doing. Is everything still all right?
We're fine, for the most part. Neuvillette came down and took care of the worst of it.
If that's the case, why don't you just ask him to stay here?
Oh, yeah, what a brilliant plan. Let's go convince the Udex himself to exchange the Courts of Fontaine for a puddle of water in the middle of nowhere. He came here in a hurry and left without even stopping for a cup of tea. He did remember to take Miss Sijween's gift with him, though.
He sure sounds super busy.
Miss Cloran has left as well. She also took her gift from Miss Sijween.
Were the gifts milkshakes?
Neuvillette got the milkshake. Clorand received lipstick instead.
Those aren't even remotely alike.
Well, it's Neuvillette's own fault for making Sijween worried about his health by working so much. But besides that, our head nurse is still pretty fond of picking out beauty products for the ladies. Oh, and I have some gifts here for you as well.
Are these from Sijween too?
Nope, they're from yours truly. You've already wrapped up your work at the fortress, so you can return to the surface at any time. You haven't yet served your full prison term, however, so you may continue to use your cell until your term is up.
For real? Then we could stay here for a really long time?
You may access the cafeteria for free.
Hooray!
Just remember to come complete your paperwork once it's time for your release.
Good roll. All right, maybe I'll take one more day off and knock out the rest of the work once I'm feeling up to it.
อ้าว ชิบหาย รีบไป ถ้าไปปีนทำเพื่อ 5 โมงก็เดี๋ยวลงแล้วดีกว่าโอเคเดี๋ยวเจอกันใหม่ตอน 3 ทุ่มนะครับ ไปแล้ว ขอบคุณทุกท่านที่มาส่งของขวัญขอบคุณทุกท่านที่รับชมเจอกันใหม่นะครับ